Hi everyone! Before we get to today's video, I realized I did not announce the giveaway winner from about a week and a half ago, the travel makeup giveaway. So congratulations to Ballet Addict, Stephanie from Ballet Addict. I did tell her, but I didn't tell the rest of you. So huge congratulations to you. Thank you for your wonderful tips, and I hope you really enjoy the products. To the rest of you, please, again, don't despair. There will be plenty more giveaways. So I just wanted to get that in there first. I do apologize. It's been almost a week, more than a week and a half. So I do apologize for that. So as I mentioned in the What's in My Dance Bag video, I'm going to be starting a new series that's going to be monthly, where I sit down and answer all of the questions that you have sent me in, either on YouTube or Facebook. I have all of your questions with all of your names and sort of grouped them together to sort of relate to each other. So I'm going to start doing that, and I'm going to call it Conversations with Katie. So when you see Conversations with Katie, tongue twister, Conversations with Katie videos pop up, that's what this is. Please don't despair if I don't get to your question today. I have enough questions already for about a 3-hour video. And I don't really want to do that. I want to keep it under 30 minutes. So these are the ones that are the first ones I got, and I'm just going to start sharing them with you. Because again, as I've mentioned numerous times before, I love sharing with all of you, and I love helping all of you. I know if I was a young dancer, I would have died to have a professional answer my questions. So that's sort of where this is coming from. So I do apologize if I get your names wrong. I will put either your YouTube name or your name, whatever you sent them to me, right here, so you can see what the names are. If I pronounce them wrong, I do apologize. So the first one is from Carolus Lopez. She asks, how old were you when you started ballet? I was 3. I was 3 years old, which I think is very, very young. You don't have to start at 3. It was sort of a once a week kind of thing where I took one little ballet class, and it was, nothing serious, just dancing around with wands and jumping over scarves, that kind of thing. And I absolutely loved it. It was just the best part of my week at that age. I'd always loved classical music. My parents said even when I was as young as like 9 months, anytime classical music would come on or play, I'd hear it, I would just stop and just be, sorry, I can't talk, so tuned in to it. So when I was 3, they decided to put me in ballet class. It wasn't until I was 8 that I realized that that's what I wanted to do. I was at a performance of New York City Ballet's Nutcracker with my parents. We were visiting New York at the time, and I walked out of there and said to them, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be up there one day. So that's when it became serious for me, was at 8, which again is still very, very young. There are even professional dancers that don't even start until they're 12. So it is a bit young, but that's just when I started. The next question is from Emily Cairns. What do you think of a 15-year-old moving across the country to attend a residential year-round program? I know that's what you did. And did it benefit your training in life as a whole, or do you regret leaving home so early? Emily, I think it benefited me beyond measure. It was the best thing that could have happened to me at the time. In order to be a professional ballet dancer, I wasn't getting enough classes at my home ballet school at that point. And my family and I sat down and talked about it at length. We had lots of family discussions. I am an only child, so that did help make the decision much easier. But we decided that it was the right thing to do. And also, I really wanted to go to New York. I wanted to be in New York City Ballet. And unless you're some big superstar, the only way to join the New York City Ballet is to go through SAB. There is no other way. Peter picks right from the classes, and that's it. So it was sort of, if you want to be in New York City Ballet, I had to go. So that, it really worked for me. And I was around people all day long that loved doing what I loved doing, so that was huge. There were classes all day long rather than just after school. So it was just really, really the best thing I could have done. I recommend 15, 16, you want to be, if you're really considering this, you need to start looking at schools. And it doesn't have to be SAB. I mean, even in New York, there are plenty of other wonderful schools. There's MMAC, which is Manhattan Youth Ballet also. There's BAE, also in the New England area is CPYB, as I've mentioned before, or if you're in California, there's San Francisco Ballet School, so there's just plenty of schools you can go to. But I would start looking into them if you're around the ages of 15 or 16. Smiley Ballerina, sort of going along with this theme, she asks, how long do you think is too long for a commute to a ballet school? This is entirely up to you and your family. Again, this is something you need to talk about. If you live outside of a big city, maybe an hour outside and there's a big school there, I would say that's worth it. But, you know, you also don't want to be taking a class and then sitting. So I'd say no more than an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's even pushing it. But that's just my opinion. You have to talk about this with your family and decide for you. If there's a fantastic school 3 hours outside your city and you are willing to go there, do it. You know, that's again, it's entirely up to you. Okay, Tara Neal says, before you became a professional dancer, did you ever get yelled at in class? If so, what did you do about it? I never got yelled at, but I did get a talking to a couple of times when I was much, much younger, about, I'd say 11 or 12. I had the tendency to kind of zone out. I was very quick at picking up combinations, thankfully, but so I was able to kind of, while the teacher was giving it, kind of just, oh, look around, oh, what am I wearing today? You know, that kind of thing. And I remember one of my teachers saying to me, you know, I know you're smart and I know you get the combination, but you need to be attentive. You need to show that you want to be there, and I've never forgotten that. So even though I can pick up combinations really quickly, I make sure that I'm focused and I'm looking at what the teacher is saying. I never really got yelled at, but other people, I've seen other people get yelled at. There's a difference between having them being helpful and critical, and if you are messing up and you are goofing off, yeah, they probably need to yell at you. Now, the difference is if you have a very mean teacher who is just ruthless regardless who it is. I thankfully have never had that problem. That's not entirely your fault. I think maybe if there was a ruthless teacher, and you know the difference, if you were goofing off or messing up, yeah, maybe they needed to yell at you. But if there's a ruthless teacher who has nothing good to say and is beyond critical and just is brutal, then maybe there needs to be something done about that. If you're the only one getting yelled at in class, that's probably not a sign, but if everybody's getting yelled at and everybody's leaving crying, that might be a problem. So talk to your parents if that's happening. If you're the only one getting yelled at, just do a little self-reflection. But if they're yelling at you critically, for example at SAB, I remember the teachers not yelling, but them just getting very aggravated when we weren't listening. They weren't really aggravated when we couldn't get the step correctly or we weren't perfect. But if we weren't listening, and as I mentioned in the summer course video, doing the heads and arms wrong, that kind of irritates them, because especially at the big schools, you should be paying attention, you should know. But so just kind of figure out what's happening. If you're the only one getting yelled at, I would maybe take some personal reflection and see what's going on. If everybody's getting yelled at and it's brutal, I would talk to your parents. So I hope that kind of answered that. Okay, Mara Weber, or Weber, again, I'm not entirely sure, I do apologize. She asked, I wanted to know what your thoughts on dancing straight out of graduating from your ballet school versus going to college for dance. And this goes along with Little Zero Lily, also says, what are your thoughts on ballet training through a university program versus dancing for a ballet company as soon as you graduate high school? Just to give you a little bit of background with my situation, I was hired as a junior. So my senior year of high school, I was with City Ballet. So that was kind of intense. But I would say, and I'm going to be 100% honest here, if you want to be in one of the bigger companies, New York City Ballet, ABT, San Francisco, P&B, etc., I would go straight out of ballet school. I would start auditioning straight out of ballet school. Because oftentimes with college programs, even if you are majoring in dance, it can sometimes get pushed aside with all of your other classes. I recommend the minute you graduate your ballet school, audition. Because oftentimes companies like that, if you have on your resume that you went to college and danced in college for a couple of years, it can be a little bit harder. Not necessarily, plenty of people have done it. I would recommend if you want to be in one of the bigger companies, audition immediately. If you want to sort of go to college and then, apologize, that's my phone. If you want to go to college and then maybe audition for a smaller company and then work your way to a bigger company, perfect. Go to college, doesn't matter. But I would say the bigger companies hire right out of ballet school, for sure. Plenty of people at New York City Ballet were in my situation where they hadn't even finished high school or had just finished high school. And then some of the students who did not get picked for the New York City Ballet went immediately to the other big companies, San Francisco, Miami, PNB, right out of ballet school. So those spots are already being taken. And that's the tricky thing, because oftentimes companies will look at the ballet schools rather than people coming in to audition. So I would say really try an audition. If you don't get something your first year out of ballet school, major in dance in college and then try again. Just keep trying. But if you can, I would recommend auditioning right out of ballet school. Okay, the next question is, this is a name I'm not entirely sure. Fanai Brown. I do apologize so much. I'm terrible with pronunciation. She asked, what would your advice be to someone who wants to be considered for a trainee at a summer program? Should they talk to directors of the trainee program? It used to be, I'm not entirely sure if this is the way anymore, that if you were interested in either staying year-round or becoming a part of a training program, you were to tell the directors at the summer course. I don't know if that still applies. It differs from school to school, but I would actually look into it. You don't want to just be sort of going along your summer course and then expect them to ask you. I would maybe not go in and say, I want to be a part of this, but maybe go and say in the office, I'd like to learn about this. What would it take to become a part of this program? What would it take? What do I have to do to be a trainee with this company or a trainee with this school? I would let them know you're interested, but again, not I want to do this and da-da-da-da. I would say, what do I need to do? Put it on yourself. What do I need to do to be a part of this? So that's how I would go about that. But talk to them, yes. Don't let the summer go by and just expect them to offer you something. Okay, from Mara Weber again. I have bad hip pain during extensions. When I go down in middle splits, knees facing forward, my legs go down, but my hips do not. My hips feel very inflexible and it affects my développés greatly. Any ideas how to fix this? I'm going to do, I promise, a video on stretching and flexibility and that kind of thing. But as far as this goes, just to answer your question right now, Mara, I would say, believe it or not, get a massage. People think that massage are just kind of to feel good and relax and kind of thing, but if you get the deep tissue massage, it will help you a lot. And you can even roll out your own hips using a tennis ball. I will include that in my video. You can get one of those big foam rollers and kind of roll out your hips, because tight hips are tight muscles. Unless you have some sort of thing where you're born with your joints not being able to do that, which probably if you're young is not the case, I would say your hips are just really tight. So either use a tennis ball or a foam roller or get a massage. Deep tissue, for me, I always get a deep tissue massage, and I get them quite frequently. A lot of professionals do, because the light ones, it's like just rubbing cream on yourself. You could do that, you know. But I would get a massage and really make sure you're doing it correctly. You don't need to worry about. You're not going to not become a professional dancer if you can't do the middle splits. They don't go around and see who can do them or not. But I would just say gently stretch and massage your hips, but also maybe stretch your inner thighs. I will include this in my video, but you can lay with your legs up against the wall and open them out into like a second split, with just up against the wall very gently, and that's kind of like doing it on the floor, but you're on your back instead. So try that and let me know if that works for you. Again, I will do a flexibility video. Okay, another question from Mara. She had great questions. I came to ballet late. Not very late, but late enough. I danced before, but I never trained in classical ballet. My teacher said that I have a bright future, but I'm behind the other girls. How can I catch up? This kind of goes along with a couple other people's questions. Ballet Love 282 says, what advice do you give to late starters who really want to have a career in the dance world? And Carolus Lopez again says, what advice do you give, or what do you think of late ballet students who want to be a professional ballet dancer. So all three of you, I'm going to sort of put this all in one. Just to give you an example, not all dancers started as I did at 3. There are some professionals. A dancer who is hugely famous right now, Misty Copeland, started at 13. And she only had 4 years of ballet experience before she got into ABT, and now is a superstar. So the age thing doesn't matter unless, I would say, you're over the age of 17. That's going to be much, much harder. But you can still catch up. I would say take as many classes as you possibly can. Train in Pilates or some other cross-strength exercise, such as I said, Pilates, gyrotonics, maybe work with a trainer just to get your muscles really strong to balance out your training. But honestly, take as many classes as you can, and find a teacher that you love. I will be doing, it's coming next Monday, I promise it's coming next Monday, as my first bar workout, where I will be giving you all a bar, and you can do it anytime, anywhere, with a chair, in socks, doesn't matter. That's something that can help you out. I will be doing different ones periodically, so you'll have a sort of repertoire you can choose from and click play and follow along. Do the other strength exercises that I'll be doing on here. Just find as many classes as you can and just work hard, because age is a number. It's not, you know. Now, if you're already 20-something and you haven't danced professionally, that might be a little late. But if you are still around the age of 17 or even 13, as Misty was, you could still possibly do it. Now, I'm not trying to give you false hope, and people might say I'm crazy, but if you want something badly enough, you can get it. So just really, really think about that. Kind of going along with this, Gur said the Tiger, I love that, nice YouTube name, said, I was wondering from your experience, is there any chance at all that someone who starts ballet in their early 20s will ever build up enough strength to be on point? Yes, absolutely. I have seen adult students who started ballet in their late 20s get in pointe shoes. And it's just a matter of strengthening your feet. It's a matter of determination, finding the right shoe. The key to pointe work is strength. If you have strong enough ankles and you have enough strength through your feet, you can get on pointe. Absolutely no problem.